All right, so let's say a baseball is pitched at a velocity of 39 meters per second and it strikes a bat and rebounds straight off at a velocity of 52 meters per second. If the ball is in contact with the bat for 3 milliseconds, what is the acceleration? So remember that we're dealing with an acceleration problem, so the definition of acceleration is the change in velocity per unit time. And we know that when we have this delta or change in velocity, it's v final minus v initial all over t. Now, remember that velocity is a vector. So when we look at these values, you see that in one instance, the ball is flying towards the bat, and in the other instance, it's flying away from the bat. So we need to give these two an opposite direction. And it really doesn't matter which one we choose to be positive or negative, it will just change the direction of this acceleration relative to that. So I could say that my final velocity is 52 meters per second. So I'm saying away from the bat is a positive direction. Whereas the initial velocity, we could say towards the bat. So let's just draw my bat here, and we can imagine that towards the bat, in this direction we're saying negative, and in this direction we're saying positive. So towards the bat is negative 39 meters per second, and then away from the bat is 52 meters per second. This would be negative 39 meters per second. Okay, so what we see here then is we know that the acceleration in this case is going to end up being positive, because at first we have a negative velocity, and so a positive acceleration is going to slow the ball down. And then if we continue with the force of the bat, it's going to then continue to accelerate the ball in the other direction to a positive 52 meters per second. Now, if we would flip the sign conventions, we get the same magnitude for acceleration, but now the acceleration would be negative. Okay, but again, it just means the same thing. It's all about just directionality. Now, the other issue that we need to deal with in the problem is the fact that our units for our velocity is in meters per second, but our time measurement is given in milliseconds. So milli is the prefix which means 1/1000th, or 0.001, or times 10 to the negative third. So when I plug this into my equation, I'm going to have to multiply this value times 10 to the negative 3 to get it in seconds. So now all I have to do is plug in my numbers. I get 52 minus a negative 39 meters per second, all divided by 3 times 10 to the negative third. So this is actually going to be plus a positive. So the actual change is going to be 91, because we've changed it from a negative 39 and then back in the positive 52 direction. So 91 and then divided by my milliseconds, 3 milliseconds, and I get a fairly large number because it does happen so quickly. And so if I just 1, 2, 3, 4, move my decimal, it's about 3 times 10 to the 4th. And it's meters per second squared is the acceleration.